Good evening. Welcome to Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, June the 3rd, 2025. After a moment of silence, we're going to ask Mark Thomas to lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item of business will be to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is statements, remarks from citizens. This is for anything not on tonight's agenda.
Hi, as most of you know me, I'm Jeff Morgan. I live at 2340 Watson Springs Road in Oconee County. It's good to see you all again this evening. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the safety and things that are going on Cullen Ferry Road. Cullen Ferry Road, like so many of our roads here in Oconee County, is widely traveled, heavily traveled, under construction part of the time, and unregulated a lot of the time. There are speed limit signs that are suggestions. There are other caution signs that are greatly ignored. You know, we have a lot of movement of equipment up and down Cullen Ferry Road. We have a lot of people driving 80 and the speed limit is 55 or less. And continuously is ignored and is continuously a dangerous situation. And I don't come here to beat up on the commissioners, although I know they probably feel like it. I come here wanting to help the citizens of Oconee County be safer in their travels, because it's not only Cullen Ferry Road, it's all over the county. If you are on Nixle and you have the updates coming to your phone, you can just get text messages about all the accidents that are occurring around the county. Some of them are minor, some of them are fatal. But I encourage all of you to consider that, whether you have family that live and travel up and down Cullen Ferry Road or some other highly traveled, highly populated area. The other morning, got up early going to work because I'm an early guy, and driving down Cullen Ferry Road, big black cow standing right on the side of the road. You know, sometimes they decide to relocate in the middle of the night of their own accord, and we can't help that. But if somebody's going 80 miles an hour at the dusky part of the morning and they hit a cow, it's going to be tragic. It's going to be tragic. So the speed needs to be dropped down. And again, I urge you to do something to control the intersection at Astondale. I witnessed a near head-on collision again the other day. And I know that we put radar signs up that say, you know, your speed is. Those were taken down. Then they were put back up again. Then they were taken down again, and they are no longer there to include the poles that they were on. I don't know what that was going on or what's going on with that. Maybe somebody can enlighten me. But I just want to know that I'm going to be here as a continued voice for the traffic safety, especially on Cullen Ferry Road and anything else that might pop up. But thank you for hearing me. As a citizen, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm back. Good evening, everybody. As you know, I'm Jenny Morgan, married to Jeff, 2340 Watson Springs Road. You probably have that memorized by now. I have a few things to point out. One, none of you have talked to me, contacted me in any way, shape, or form saying, hey, we want to work with you. I'm still asking, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to fix this? And I'm not asking for you to stand on the side of the road and slow people down. But we have a problem in South Oconee and we need to fix it. We've suggested a stop sign, four-way stop at Astondale Road. As my husband mentioned, the speed signs, they work. But let me tell you about a posting I saw on Facebook yesterday. Somebody posted a picture of one of those signs, 25-mile-per-hour speed zone, and somebody put a piece of paper on there with a list of names and the speed they were going. That's not funny. That is terrifying. My son was killed 3 months ago tomorrow. He was not speeding. He was not on the phone. He was doing the right things. What's it going to take to fix this problem? Again, I am passed on blind hills, blind curves, and sometimes both in the same location by people who are flying. No regard for their safety, someone else coming the other direction's safety, or mine. Because they're next to me. If they hit somebody head on, I'm going to be involved somehow, unfortunately. I'm not here for an emotional outburst. I'm here because I'm passionate about this. I think I've earned the right as a grieving mother to be passionate about this. I also think I have earned the right to stand up here and talk to you every time I can get here for your meetings. I also think I have earned the right to be emotional if I need to be. You haven't walked a minute in my shoes. In fact, you have not put my shoes on. Be thankful for that. You have no idea the pain, the agony, the emotion that I deal with on a minute-by-minute basis. You have no idea what it takes for me sometimes to get out of bed in the morning. Be thankful for that. I don't wish this on my worst enemy, let alone somebody I know and care about. In the last month since I was here the last time and spoke to you, I've seen several unsafe practices, and I'm going to tell you several of them were Oconee County work pickup trucks. Side of the road, I've got pictures if you'd like to see them. No warning. I came over a blind hill right there in front of me. Car coming at me. Thankfully, I was not going the speed limit. I had time to stop. What if it'd been somebody else going 80 who tends to go 80 on that road? It'd have been all over for the guy on the side of the road putting up the signs, warning signs where he was at. They're the yellow and black stripe signs warning that there's low road or low shoulder. It'd have been it for him. Another incident, same thing, very similar, no warnings, no nothing, very close to Astondale and Colon Ferry Road. No safety equipment whatsoever. Guy on the side of the road working. I don't have to tell you about the behavior on that road. My husband has already done it. People drive 80, passing on blind hills and blind curves. Don't wait until somebody else does. Don't put somebody else through this agony. If we need to do research, do traffic, I got it. I understand. I have a master's degree. I have a thesis. I know what research is. I know it has to be done before you can publish a document. I got it. Start it. Figure out how we can fix this. As a grieving mother, I'm begging you, don't put somebody else's family through what I've been through over the last 3 months. Thank you for listening.
Any other public comment? Any statements, remarks from commissioners?
I've got one. Ms. Morgan, I'm just want to say how sorry I am for your loss. And I can only imagine what you guys are going through. I know it's extremely difficult.
I'm trying to hear you.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, ma'am. So I did speak to the sheriff. And so he has not heard from you guys and would like to speak with you guys. So if you want to make, an appointment to go by and speak with him, he'd certainly be more than happy to talk to you about that.
I appreciate.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll say this commission group has been concerned about safety on our roads since we got together. We've done more intersection improvements and roadway improvements than probably any group in the past. A lot of that is thanks to y'all passing T-Splosh to give us the funding to do it. So as far as Colin Perry at Assendale, we've been working on that even before y'all ever came up to talk about that intersection, and we have the right solution for it. And they're finishing up the final right-of-way acquisition, and we hope to go to bid on that in September. The signs that were up on the road for speed detection, we did 2 tests. One was with the flashing lights on to warn you what your speed was. The second was without any flashing lights at all. It does record the speeds during that time. So our first test was May 7th through May 11th. The first sign had 3,022 vehicles pass it during that time period. 611 or 20% of those were going between 5 and 9 miles over the posted speed limit. There were 0 at 10 or more over the posted speed limit. This is with the flashing lights on. The second sign during that same time period had 4,307 vehicles pass it, with 744 of them, or 17%, going between 5 and 9 miles over the posted speed limit. In both cases, the 85th percentile speed was 64 miles an hour, and the average speed of all vehicles passing the sign were 54 on the first sign and 53 on the second. We then brought the signs back from May 21st through May 25th, and this is the non-flashing version. First sign was 3,395 vehicles passed by, with 733 between 5 and 9 miles over the speed limit, or 22%. 85th percentile was 63, with the average speed of all vehicles at 54 miles an hour. The second sign had 4,763 total vehicles passed, with 799 or exceeding the speed limit between 5 and 9 miles an hour. Again, there was no vehicles during that time period with 10 or more miles an hour above the speed limit, and the 85th percentile is 63. We are doing a study based on this information to try to, if the speed limit needs to be dropped, we're looking at that to see if that's a possibility, and still be able to maintain enforcement on the road. With that, we'll move to approval of the minutes for May 6th, May 13th, and May 20th.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. We're now going to move into our hearings and actions on zoning matters. Our first case is rezone request P 25-0039. This is a rezoning from AG to AR3. It's 10 acres at 1488 Old Bishop Road.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Again, this is rezone P 25-0039, Robbie Wolfel, applicant and owner. This is parcel B 07025BA and 025B. It's currently zoned AG in the Rural Places Character Area. Again, the request is rezone the 10 acres from AG to AR3. This is a recorded plat in your application packets. This is the proposed concept plan showing a 3-acre tract in the front and the 7-acre tract in the back. These are architectural images. And staff recommends conditional approval with our 2 standard conditions. The Planning Commission also recommended approval with the same conditions. Thank you.
Now we'll hear from the owner. Would you like to say anything, Robbie? Okay, all right. Anyone else wish to speak for the rezone? Does anyone wish to speak against? With that, we'll go ahead and close public comments and open up to any questions from commissioners.
Yeah, I've got a question for you. I know at our last regular meeting, we talked about the AR3.
Mhm.
And does this actually match the character area with the AR3, or is this just a kind of a fix for what they're
Well,
wanting to do?
similar to the last meeting, this is overall density doesn't change on this one. And really, you're just, you're minimizing one lot, but you're not creating a new lot. So you're creating a 3-acre lot out front and then 7 in the back. So it's similar to the last meeting.
Okay. So what is the minimum lot size in that character area?
Typically, the overall density would be that 4 acres,
Or,
and this certainly meets that.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve rezone P 250039 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve rezone request P 25-0039. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is variance request P 24-0255 for Susan Chamberlain. This is a request to reduce the front yard private freestanding garage setback, 1.079 acres at 1011 Barnett Drive. Also, there's a variance with this one as well, 25-0078, reduce the front yard setback.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, this is variance P 24-0255 and P 25-0078. Susan Chamberlain, applicant and owner. This is parcel D 02C001A at the corner of Barnett Drive and South Barnett Shoals. It's currently zoned AR in the country estates character area. And again, the two variances requests, one is the 0255, a special exception variance to UDC section 348A to reduce the required private freestanding garage setback from 200 feet to 34.4 feet along Barnett Shoals Drive and 38.1 feet along Barnett Drive. And then P 25-0078 is a special exception variance from UDC section 41001 in table 4.1 to reduce the front yard setback along South Barnett Shoals from 40 feet to 34.4 feet. You have the recorded plat in your application packet and the concept plan showing the proposed encroachment of the structure in that location. And staff recommends conditional approval with our 1 standard condition. And number 2, property owner shall restore the roadside swale along Barnett Drive that was regraded after January 2024 during the tree removal. The swale restoration shall be completed to the satisfaction of Public Works prior to the issuance of a building permit for the structure. Thank you.
Now we'll hear from the owner. Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak for the variance request? Eric? Yes, sir. Mhm.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak here this evening. So my name is
State
Eric
your name
Starkey.
and address, name and
Yeah,
address.
my name is Eric Starkey, and I'm a resident at 1020 Barnett Drive. So kind of diagonal from the proposed project and variance. So I think, we can all agree that, when we buy a property, we appreciate the property value being protected, based on the ordinances and rules and whatnot that were in place when we purchased the property. I think we can also agree that proper functioning septic systems are pretty important to our community. And that really this proposed project will impact both of those things. Property values and infrastructure, in my opinion. So impacts to the neighborhood include, this being extremely close to both roadways, Barnett Drive and Barnett Shoals. That's a substantial change to the setback from the required 200 feet to 34, which is a significant change and alters the character of that entrance to the neighborhood, potentially substantially. Secondly, which could impact property values. Secondly, concerned about impacts to the environment and infrastructure. Specifically, some of the standing water issues that occur along Barnett Drive. It was mentioned the swale being reconstructed there, which may help with some of this, admittedly. But currently, water accumulates along Barnett Drive, of which I've got a picture here just to demonstrate. I'm happy to pass that around later. But essentially, water accumulates there and sheets across Barnett Drive, and can potentially impact the septic system at 1010 Barnett Drive, which is directly across the street. And I believe they submitted a letter as well in opposition to this idea. Even if the swale is restored, my concern is that this water will flow down alongside Barnett Shoals Road. And as it currently does, it flows behind 1010 Barnett Drive and 1020 Barnett Drive, which have both experienced drainage issues and erosion issues, sinkholes and erosion to the ephemeral stream bed. If erosion continues, I'm concerned it's going to impact my septic system at 1020 Barnett Drive. And of course, with increased impervious surface, like a roof and increased driveway, potentially, this is something I fear could happen. But especially for the septic system that's right across the street, we definitely have concerns. With that, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak against? With that, we'll go ahead and close public comments. Any questions from commissioners?
Got one question, and this would be to either side. Is there in existence a HOA in your subdivision? Okay, I may have a follow-up question to that in just a little bit.
I got a question for Guy, if you don't mind, sir. Have you looked at any of the topo that was mentioned, and then also the street drainage?
Yes, sir. This is an older subdivision that has no curb and gutter. So it is a sheet flow situation on the adjacent lots. And that was thus the condition we placed on this one. The applicant had graded the lot and towed the slope all the way to the curb. I mean, all the way to the edge of pavement. And so we were, the condition number 2 is what would take care of that issue. But over the years, sheet flow is going to, as you know, go to the lowest point. And if those lots fall off toward the back, toward the creek on those, that flow will continue as it always has.
So in this particular case, Ms. Chamberlain's lot's across the street. And so there should be a ditch section on that side of the street
right.
that would carry it down at least to a cross drain.
Yeah, that's our condition number 2, repairing that, putting that back in place. They had taken it out.
Okay. So the Chamberlains had taken that out.
Yes, when they had the trees removed and the lot graded, cleaned up, the top, they towed the slope all the way to the edge of pavement. So effectively taking out the ditch.
Okay. Okay. So that would be in county right of way as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So would there need to be a driveway permit for this as well?
No, they'll use the existing driveway, so no driveway permit.
Okay.
But the ditch will have to be repaired prior to issuance of a permit, should the board approve.
At the expense of the Chamberlains?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay. So once it's repaired, in your opinion, do you think the topo in that area, if it follows the ditch line, would impact the other lots across the road?
I believe the other lots will continue to take on sheet flow as they always have.
But not from the ditch section? Because the ditch section should follow along
It should,
parallel
that's
to the
right.
road
That's
and
right.
then go down to,
This is at the top of the hill, so it's relatively flat. So the ditch was minimal, but it was a wider area that water could flow through. There was no pipe under the driveway, such to convey it further back in toward the subdivision. It's right at the top of the hill, so it's relatively flat. So sheet flow on heavy rains will still continue.
okay.
But restoring it to the previous is our intent.
Right. So in any case, we shouldn't have water that's sheet flowing across the road, even prior to their construction.
I think probably over the years, it has jumped the road on heavy rains because it's so flat on that top portion.
Okay.
And there's no curb and gutter to take it in any other direction.
I guess my point of that is that that should be a maintenance thing that somebody needs to take care of. It's really, I mean, it's not safe in freezing weather for water to be going across the road and it freezing, create a condition. Okay, thank you.
God, just stay,
Yes, sir.
stay right there. God, do we not have any kind of requirements, any kind of vegetative screening of this structure? Because when I went out there, they have cleared that corner.
Right, yes.
So if they build a structure there, it's going to be sitting on the corner with no vegetative screening of any type.
The code does not require it, no, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
I guess one more thing, help me understand that the encroachment is within the setback line that was part of the original subdivision, or does it encroach into the right of way of the county?
No, setback. Yeah, they're requesting a reduction in the 40-foot setback that's required on the AR lot.
Okay.
So it's not encroaching on the right of way at all. It's the setback from the right of way.
Okay. Was there any discussion with the applicant of size, right size in the structure so that it would not encroach in the buffer?
I believe that was discussed with staff and then maybe even a relocation to the end of the house, but
Yeah.
I think this was the approach they desired to take.
Okay. Now, the drawings, I couldn't really tell, was there, it's just I saw some notation about hardy board. Is it just a plain vanilla?
Yes, sir. That's our understanding.
No,
Hardy siding.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we don't have any architectural control over the
No.
color of that hardy board?
No, sir. Good job.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Now I'll go back to the applicant and gentleman that spoke in opposition. Was there ever an HOA document?
There was not.
Nothing. Okay. I've visited the area and I didn't see anything comparable to this. Is that, am I wrong or right? Where you're proposing to put building seemed to be out pretty close to the road, not far from the actual, the rock that has what, Barnett? Barnett's Bluff. Yeah. But it looked to be, it would be pretty close to that. And I didn't see anything in the subdivision that was comparable. If I'm wrong, let me know.
I've not seen anything comparable in our subdivision for what was built there, to be honest.
The lot itself is,
You come up, so we're having a little trouble here.
the lot itself is different in that both Barnett Drive and Barnett Shoals Road are both considered the front of the property. And so the reason that this lot was cleared was because of the hurricane that had come through and had topped the trees. And some of those trees were falling forward. So my septic system is in the back. So there was no way in that lot, and there's not enough room on the other side to be able to add a garage. With the design of it, it was, I know someone had asked a while ago what that might look like. So the design of it is to match the color of the brick of the house, about 2.5 feet up, and then use the white hardy board like is on the existing house that's there now. When they came and took the trees out and cleared the lot, he did not put back in that drainage system, but knows that we have to do that. And then that whole lot will be landscaped with grass and whatever needs to go up there. But it is an unusual situation because both those roads, I sit on that corner and both are considered the front, if that makes any sense. Did you have any other questions for me?
That was the point I was making. I didn't see any other buildings in the front and by the street side of that.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to see if it was, but I didn't see anything where other buildings as yours.
Not on my street.
On the far side. Did I miss one?
There's a couple of houses on the back side that have detached garages. Mine
the-
just, sir,
Are they in the front?
their lots are different. I consider the front of my house Barnett Drive because that's where it faces, right? So to side of Barnett Shoals Road, to me, is the side. It doesn't change the driveway in any way. It doesn't, you're gonna use the existing concrete, except for, what you would have to lay for the foundation. And then after it's built, it'll be landscaped, so, you'll have, it will look nice. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's not just gonna be left with red dirt.
So when you say landscaped, or would you object to putting some vegetation on the backside that one that faces both roads?
Yeah, well, we had already planned to grass that area and put either some sort of small tree or some sort of shrubbery that would help with the drainage. The drainage has always been there. If you go one house over from me, they actually have a ditch. I never had that. We just had, it was just like it almost was flat from erosion. And the way the house does sit up and across the street from me is down. I've never really paid attention to water going across the street because there was some leverage to keep it, but it wasn't a full ditch. It was almost flat. And I think there were 2 pear trees at one time that were planted there. So
You wouldn't have a problem with a condition that says evergreens be placed
oh, no. We were
around
gonna do that
on the
anyway.
backside and the other side?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else. We had to take the trees down regardless of whether or not the garage gets approved or not. Because some of them were dead and then the hurricane that came through here topped several of them. So, do you have any more questions for me?
Time, thank you.
Okay.
We have 2 different variance requests. Commissioner Saxon had mentioned about requiring vegetation. Which one of those 2 variances would that be a condition be attached to?
The one, yes, the one you approve. So if you wanted to put a condition on both of them, you could do that.
Second question is, remind me which one of these variances has to deal with the 200 feet?
I think it's 255, but we can pull it up and make sure.
Double check.
Yeah.
So where my question is, as far as the 200 feet,
Yes.
let's assume that Ms. Chamberlain did not encroach to the buffers. Would she still have to have permission
Mhm.
for the 200 feet?
That's right.
Because that's what's dealing with the fact that she has a corner lot, that she really doesn't have.
The 200 feet is just the fact that you can't have an accessory structure within 200 feet of a right of way. So, but yes, she has two front yards, two
Right.
right of ways that she's having to deal with. So that
But if
effectively,
she was so inclined not to encroach into the buffer, she would need that 200-foot
anyway, yes, sir. That's right.
relief.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
255 would have to be adjudicated or addressed, and then 0078 is the one that if you wanted her to stay within that 40-foot or outside of that 40-foot setback.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I got a question for him, Mr. Jody. Have you ever had anybody from that subdivision or anybody else ask about drainage in Barnett's Bluff?
I haven't had anyone speak to me about drainage. I don't know if Michael has, but I did have Michael look at it, and it is fairly flat in the front. He said, I believe he said there was a cross drain on Barnett and Shoal, that it needed to be reworked a little bit to get water in there.
I was looking at the topo as well. It appears that once you pass her driveway, then it picks back up with a ditch section that would carry it. So you just got to deal with it right there at her driveway. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Or we'll take variance request P24-0255 first.
I make a motion to approve variance P24-0255, Susan Chamberlain, request to reduce front yard private piece and detached garage setback 1.079 acres. 11 Barnett shows residential with the original two conditions and an additional condition added to add evergreen vegetation to the building itself towards the right of way.
Both right of ways.
Both both right of ways.
Address both.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve variance request P24-0255 with the two staff conditions and a third condition of evergreen vegetation along the right of ways. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we'll move on to variance request P25-0078.
Make a motion to approve variance P25-0078 as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve variance request P25-0078 with two conditions. Or all three? Three, with three conditions. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, now we'll move over to personnel matters. Our first item under that item section is consider appointment to the Oconee County Board of Assessors.
I make a motion, we appoint Jeffrey B. Watson to the Board of Tax Assessors immediately to March 31st, 2028.
We have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is consider appointments to the Oconee County Animal Service Advisory Board.
Make a motion that we appoint Linda Winstrom and Amy Bartlett.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
Aye.
I'm sorry. Any opposed? All right. Motion carried. Next item is consider appointment to the Family and Children's Services Board.
Make a motion, we appoint Stan Ruth to the Family and Children's Service Board, starting 7/1/2025, ending 6/30/2030.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is a consider appointment to the Keep Oconee Beautiful Commission.
Make a motion that we appoint Judy Pope, John Lawson, Angela Young, Ashley Sorrells, Tamara Andros. That's it.
All right, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is consider appointments to the Tourism and Visitors Bureau.
Make a motion to appoint Stephanie Van Dyke, Deisha Hagwood, Casey Deming, Amber McCall Deutsch to the Tourism and Visitors Bureau from 7/1/2025 to 6/30/2027.
Second.
A motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is discuss and consider the grounds maintenance contract. Justin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last meeting I brought to you, the review committee was still reviewing the the bid submittals for the grounds maintenance contracts. The recommended firm, and this is essentially everything except roadside mowing with county property. The review committee is recommending Hausman for a total of $618,987.19 with an additional $56,675 for as needed mowing. This would include all necessary budget amendments for the life of the project. This is a one-year contract with the 4 automatic renewals going forward. Happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for Justin? Do we have any public comment on this item? We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve that contract. Second.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is discuss and consider the adoption of the proposed FY 26 budget. As you recall, we had a detailed presentation of the budget in our 2 public hearings, one on May 6th, the second one on May 20th. The general fund budget is $45,704,250. There's no tax increase hearings expected based on our currently estimated digest. Total budget, including all funds such as water resources, SPLOS and T-SPLOS, is $83,700,551. There's been no changes to this budget since our last presentation. You also remember we reviewed the changes to the fee schedule. No changes have been made to that schedule since our last presentation as well. Do we have any questions from commissioners on this item? Do we have any public comments on the FY 26 budget? Yes, sir.
Again, Jeff Morgan, there was a question raised by another person at the budget review. The question was the use of the facial recognition scanners requested by the sheriff's department. Did we get an answer on that at all?
I'm not sure if she did. I'll tell you that they're using it for their shoplifting cases when they have, the cameras are capturing it. There's some other jurisdictions around that have been using it and they've had real success with it. Any other public comments? With that, we'd entertain a motion for adoption of the FY 26 budget and fee schedule.
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Our next item is discuss and consider the right-of-way donation to Georgia Department of Transportation. Daniel?
GDOT has requested that the county convey tracks along 316 as part of their project in upgrading all the intersections. And they've provided us closing packages that take the place of the rights of entry that you all saw before. And we've been over them. They look fine. Actually got John and Holly to go ahead and sign everything in expectation of the board approval. But this is what they need to move forward with the interchange improvements.
Any questions for Daniel? Do you have any public comment? With that, we'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the right-of-way donations to Georgia Department of Transportation.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. Next item is discuss and consider the ratification of the IGA for provisional financial services between Oconee County and the Upper Oconee Basin Water Authority. This is I guess three of us are actually showing up on the board, but heading into the project, there's been some change in leadership at the regional commission, and Oconee County's agreed to take over the financial reporting and monitoring of that. This is a 5-year agreement. I don't know if we'll need it that long, but with the big project coming on with that, there's a lot to the pay applications and that type of thing. So luckily, Melissa's got a lot of experience in doing those. We think it'd be good. But this will be up to a 5-year agreement. The Water Basin Authority will compensate Oconee County $1,500 a month, and that will be billed quarterly. Any questions? You have an answer to those? Do we have any public comment on this item? We'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the ratification of the IGA for provisional financial services between Oconee County, Georgia, and the Upper Oconee Water Basin Authority as submitted.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is discuss and consider the FY 26 ECCG Irma Property and Liability Insurance Renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This request is to renew with ACCG Irma, the FY 26 property and liability insurance. They've submitted their packet. The coverages will remain the same with a $10,000 deductible. The premium would be $439,156, and that is after us receiving our $23,114 safety credit for FY 25. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions? Any public comment? We'll entertain a motion.
We'll make a motion to approve that contract.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Motion carries. Next item is discuss and consider the construction of the roundabout at New High Shoals Road and Union Church Road. Jody?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This item of business is the bid award for ITB 25-04-018, construction of a roundabout at New High Shoals Road and Union Church Road. 9 bids were received. CMC Inc. was the lowest responsible bidder with a bid of $740,267.49. Geotechnical and material testing is estimated to cost $15,000. NPDES permitting costs $96 for this project. So the total proposed construction budget for the project is $755,000, $755,363.49. Public Works recommends approving the bid award to CMC Inc. with a not-to-exceed price of $740,267.49, establishing a project budget of $755,363.49, authorizing the chairman to execute necessary documents, and approving future budget amendments up to the contract amount for the life of the project. The financial impact is the construction would be funded through LRA, which the board approved at a previous meeting, and we have received those funds from Georgia DOT. And then the material testing and NPDES permitting would be T-splost.
You have any questions for Jody?
Yeah, well, Jody, I didn't hear you mention in the past, did we have to acquire an additional right of way?
We did acquire right of way, and those, have we closed on those, Daniel, or are they in process? We're in a process. We do have options for the closing, and Daniel's working on closing those right now.
So have we already approved those?
We adopt those at the once a month as they come in.
Okay. But I haven't seen it.
No, yeah.
Okay. I didn't think I missed it. Okay. Thank you.
Who is going to be overseeing the construction?
As far as the day-to-day, that would be our contract with Atlas Technical Consultants.
Okay. As far as like concrete testing and that type
That
of
would be
thing?
GeoHydro.
Okay.
So do we have anticipated construction start date?
The bid documents specify that once they get a notice to proceed, they should start within 14 days, and the contract duration is 180 days.
Any anticipated closures during this construction?
No, there are not any anticipated closures. It should be built under traffic.
Any other questions? Thank you. Do we have any public comment? We'll entertain a motion for this item.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Does any commissioner wish any item to be removed from the consent agenda?
No, sir.
All right, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion we approve the consent items as submitted.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We do not have need of executive session, so Commissioner Saxon,
Motion adjourned.
Second.
we are adjourned.